Well, Israel is retaliating against Gaza after attacks by Hamas has killed more than 900 Israelis. More than 500 Palestinians in Gaza have also been killed. More than 2,200 rockets launched as armed Hamas militants also raided towns, going door to door, executing innocent people. At an Israeli music festival over the weekend, 260 bodies were removed from the desert.
Never seen something like this. I've been in two wars in my life and never seen anything like this. They didn't care if you are a man or a woman, you are young or old man. They are killers, they are murderers.
The State Department saying at least 11 Americans have died in Israel. U.S. Embassy staff are now under a curfew from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. and banned from going on any personal travel. A Hamas spokesman saying if the shelling continues without warning, they will begin executing Israeli hostages. The deadly conflict between Israel and Hamas is just a few days old, but the United States is already promising additional support to Israel. Israel is seeking a resupply of weapons from the United States, including interceptors for its Iron Dome missile defense system and more artillery rounds. The defense secretary already announcing on Sunday that the U.S. is sending a carrier strike group consisting of several warships to the region.
Certainly this complexity of an operation, something should have came out of Gaza, either through human intelligence or signals intelligence, that indicated it was going to happen.
Lawmakers are receiving intelligence briefings, but without a Speaker of the House, they can't introduce any new legislation. Republicans will huddle behind closed doors tomorrow as they discuss who will become their next Speaker. Kevin McCarthy says he is open to the position again, if that's what members want. Now the conflict has left a group of Iowans stuck in Israel after they traveled there for a group tour last week. Local 5's Megan McPherson spoke to them about what they have seen and heard from Tel Aviv.
Stephanie, head pastor Glenn Goodwin and 29 members of the Gospel Assembly Church in Des Moines left for Israel last Wednesday with plans to partake in a Christian Holy Land tour. Now, just days after their arrival, the group is now looking at any and all options to come home as soon as possible. Iowa pastor Glenn Goodwin has traveled to Israel more than a dozen times over the years.
Routinely take tour groups to Israel, Holy Land tours, Bible-based tours.
But he never could have expected what would unfold on his next trip.
About 6:30 in the morning, we heard air raid sirens. People were scrambling to find fallout shelters or safe rooms.
Goodwin and 29 other members of the church were set to travel from the United States to Israel last week. While 18 of them made it to the country, 11 others on another flight were forced to divert and return to the U.S.
The streets are deserted. It's very quiet in Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv is just 39 miles away from Gaza, where Hamas launched a deadly surprise attack.
We definitely hear the explosions. Still today, we can hear the explosions in the distance.
Both the U.S. Embassy and the Israeli government are urging them to leave as soon as possible. Goodwin and his group have spent hours trying to find a flight out and return home. But with major U.S. airlines suspending flights to Israel, they found themselves stuck for several more days. For now, however, the group is safe.
We're not afraid. We're not hiding out in shelter somewhere. There's people who've come up to us and asked us, Israelis, to be sure and tell the story. Tell them how bad this is. Tell them what Hamas has done.
Pastor Goodwin tells me that all 18 members in Israel are booked on a flight for this Saturday that will bring them back here to Iowa. Until then, the group will continue to shelter in place in Tel Aviv. Stephanie.
Megan, thank you. Governor Kim Reynolds ordered all flags in Iowa to be lowered to half staff through sunset this Sunday in remembrance of the lives lost in Israel. Governor Reynolds responding to the attack saying, quote, "Today and every day, Iowa stands in solidarity with Israel and their right to defend themselves." Travel between the U.S. and Israel is pretty much at a standstill right now. Major U.S. airlines temporarily suspended or canceled flights after the attacks. Delta Airlines says it will work with the U.S. government as needed to help American citizens in Israel return to the United States. And all of Iowa's congressional delegation condemned the attack on Israel. Representative Zach Nunn said he is working on legislation calling for support and more assistance for Israel.